Oh, I'm glad you're all here. I have some very important business things to discuss. 1 second. A level 1 incident just came in. Okay, now into the important. 1 sec. If only there was a better way.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chief Innovation Officer of ServiceNow, Dave Wright.
Managing technology for the sake of managing technology, that's been the bane of our existence for decades. I just want you to go back and think, can you remember why you joined IT? I'm going to guess that you thought you were going to do things in different ways. You were going to do things that already existed faster. You were going to do things that people hadn't even thought were possible. You were going to change the world, or at least the world of the company that you work for. But what really happened? What did you really end up doing? You ended up doing SMP applies to mainframes. You ended up reinstalling AIX again and again. You patched Windows servers. You plugged in chassis. Yeah, you were changing the world. But it didn't matter, right? It didn't matter at all, because you were gods. You were gods of infrastructure. You want something? You come to me. You want a server? I'll give you a server in 3 months. Maybe, if you buy me donuts. And the weird thing was, we were really focused on IT. So it's funny how it always took the same amount of time to do things. We never focused on the business. We never asked the business why they needed something. And what we did was we created this massive burden on ourselves that you just saw with those guys on stage. And then all of a sudden, it all changed. In the mid-2000s, I remember sitting in a meeting at VMware, where I worked at the time, and Paul Maritz had just arrived as the new CEO. And Paul Maritz said, you think it's all about virtualization? What this is this is the foundation layer of cloud computing. And we all clapped. Brilliant. And then we all Googled cloud computing to see what it was. But the great thing about cloud computing was that changed the way that we worked, and it changed the focus that we had as a group of IT professionals, because now we started to see the rise of private clouds. We started to see the technology out there allowing people to build public clouds. Applications started to move towards a SaaS-based environment. We changed the way we work. We became a lot more agile rather than using waterfall techniques. And we started to look at different ways to actually manage operations, starting to look at the world of AI ops. So now we weren't supporting the infrastructure anymore. Now we were supporting cloud and applications. But what I think will happen in the future is IT will actually get to realize its purpose. Because IT's true purpose is to give value to the business. And the way you give value to the business is you give people amazing experiences. If people want to use technology to do things better, you've done your job. And an amazing experience isn't just about the user interface. It's about everything that goes behind that, because when you get a great experience, that's an emotional thing. That's something you connect with. So IT's focus will become to drive productivity into the business, not to drive productivity into IT. Now, in order for us to get there, some things have got to change. And what I'd like to do is just talk about 4 different things that I think will change over the next 5 years, and how those 5 things will change fundamentally the way that we work and what the future looks like. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to get rid of all these rigid controls. What happens at the moment is IT works in silos. So a change will go through networking, it'll go through security, it'll go through infrastructure. You think about how many times someone says, hey, can you add me to that approver group? And then think about how many times someone says, can you take me off that approver group? That is not a balance. And that means we've got to the point now where IDC say it takes almost 3 weeks to get a change done. And the real insane thing about all of this is we caused it. We didn't arrive to run IT and there was huge stone tablets that said, this is what you have to do. We decided to build this system, and we decided to build these controls. So what I think will happen in the next 5 years is you'll start to see agility move to the point where agility is actually beyond DevOps. DevOps is a great framework for being able to build applications in a really responsive way. But the techniques that it uses don't just apply to one area of IT. We can take that concept and we can move it to different areas of IT. So we start to get people working together in much more dynamic ways. And I think that then you'll even see it move beyond IT. I think you'll see it move to the point where people are focused on how they do this at an enterprise level. The next thing we need to look at is how we actually train our systems. So at the moment, we've all got very used to chasing alerts and trying to find root cause analysis, which isn't much fun and isn't really much value. And what happened is we got bored of it, so we started to look at alternate ways to do it. And the first thing we came up with is artificial intelligence. Now, artificial intelligence is one of the best names in the business. It is artificially intelligent. It's a form of machine code that fakes being intelligent. And it's based on how you actually train it to learn. So this is a supervised learning process. And it gives you the capability to understand and predict what might happen. What's going to happen in the next 5 years is intelligence will move beyond insight. It's great to be able to know what's happening. It'd be even better if you knew how to fix what was happening. So what will happen is we start to move into areas such as unsupervised machine learning, and as we get more data for using the existing train model, we'll be able to move to something where AI doesn't just become predictive, but AI will get to the point where it becomes prescriptive. The system will be able to say, hey, we've got this issue, and if I look at all the other times we've had this issue, we've solved it in these 10 ways. And out of those 10 ways, this way has been 82% more successful than anything else. I recommend this is the first thing you do. And eventually, we'll gain more confidence in that. And what we'll do is we'll say, well, rather than you tell me to do it, why don't you just do it? Let the machine do the work, and if that doesn't work, then you can bring me into the loop. The next thing we need to fix is what we do every day, which is we live in this spin cycle of tickets. We do the same thing again and again. You never, ever hear someone say, hey, I've got a new type of incident, or I've never seen this type of problem before. It's always the same thing again and again. We just completely go through this process of doing everything again and again, even though we know how to fix it. So what's going to happen over time is you'll start to see this convergence where we use things like artificial intelligence, where we use things like virtual agents, where we use integration, where we use automation, and we bring all this together. And I believe and I think some of you think the same way based on conversations I've had, that eventually we get to a point where automation takes us beyond tickets, where we get to a point where there is no level 1 incidents, or the level 1 incidents exist, but the sole purpose of their existence is to train the AI to be better than it was before. So that sounds pretty scary, right? Weird English guy standing on stage saying there's going to be no more level 1 tickets. But I want to explain why it's not as scary as it sounds. So I want to go back to 1990. It's 1990. I'm 22 years old. I'm a big Motley Crue fan, which isn't helping my career. And I am what the industry refers to, unfortunately, as a tape monkey. So what my job is to get scratch cartridges, is to mount big reel tapes, is to fill up the hoppers with silos, get the tapes and send them off site every night, do the automated clearance system process for payments and get those tapes out there. And then 2 years later, a company called Storage Tech came along. And Storage Tech created something called a tape silo. And a tape silo was a robot that mounted tapes, put cartridges in drives. So this was specifically a machine of pure evil that had been specifically designed to do exactly what Dave Wright did for a living. So I trained as an operator, and 2 years later, a company called Candle Services came along, and they had a product called AF Remote, which was a piece of software of pure evil specifically designed to do exactly the job that Dave Wright did. So then I trained as a programmer, and I actually ended up working for Candle after a while. But what that gave me was the freedom to become relevant. And you know what it really gave me? When I walked out on stage and saw all you people sitting here, at no point did I think, well, this isn't as good as mountain tapes. It allowed me to develop a skill set that allowed me to do something completely different. And that's what we all need to do. Because as we start to see things coming together, and we see agility move to the next phase of being beyond DevOps. We see ourselves getting beyond insight. We see ourselves getting rid of level 1 and going beyond tickets. If we can combine that with an amazing user experience, we get something else that we hadn't really thought of before. We get the capability to build an experience that's beyond consumer. Now that sounds weird. John was speaking yesterday, and John was saying, hey, it's all about how we get things in the workplace to be as good as they are at home. But I think in 5 years' time, we could potentially get to the point where they're actually better than what you experience in the consumer world. Because we have one unique thing. We have the ServiceNow platform. Now, in the world of ServiceNow, all our applications are connected. But the interesting thing is, when we mobilize those applications, they're also connected. So if you had a truly connected consumer experience, you would update your credit card on your iPhone, and it would automatically update Uber, and it would update Lyft, and it would update Netflix, and it would update Amazon. But it doesn't do that, does it? Because the apps aren't connected. The apps share the infrastructure they sit on, but they don't actually share the back end. All ServiceNow mobile applications and all ServiceNow mobile service experiences will share that back end. And that is something that's going to be unique to us. So when you actually start to talk about going on this journey and imagine where it can get in 5 years, it's much more interesting when you actually see what that looks like from a customer perspective. So in 1833, a company started in the Netherlands that used to sell seashells, which was very close to a tongue twister. Probably shouldn't have gone down that route. They were called Shell. And in 1907, they started to look at how they expanded the business and what they become, and they became Royal Dutch Shell, and they started the path to become the industry giants that they are today. Now, change can be really difficult in a company of Shell size, but Shell have decided to evolve again and take advantage of being able to do a digital transformation. So Shell has approached this technology evolution by investing in ServiceNow as part of that solution. And what I'd now like to do is welcome on stage Lynn Germain, the Vice President of IT Integration for Shell.
Hi,
Hey,
Dave.
Lynn.
Great to be here.
So thank you for taking the time to come here. And I have to say thank you for bringing your massive disclaimer statements as well.
Well, actually, the disclaimer is about you should not sell or buy any Shell shares based on what I'm going to say today. So.
OK, but since it's on the screen, it's a legal requirement. Why don't we just take 2 minutes silence and everyone can just go through the agreement? So look, Lynn, why we're being silent and going through your, frankly, epic disclaimer agreements, a lot of things have changed in the world, and a lot of things have changed from the way we consume power, the way we want energy. How has that actually affected Shell as a company?
Well, the world is changing rapidly. If you look at the global population, it's expected to grow from 7.4 to 10 billion by 2050, with more than 67% of the people living in cities. The renewable energy could triple by the same time, but we still need a fair amount of oil and gas in order to provide the full range of energy product that the world will need. And we intend to reduce our carbon intensity on the energy product we sell by almost 50% by 2050. And this is in step with society as it moves towards the goal of the Paris Agreement.
OK, so there's a lot of things that go on in your world that actually affect what the company has to do. But what do you have to do to address these market changes from the way you change your business, and more importantly for this audience, from what you have to do within the world of IT?
Yeah, sure. So our purpose actually is to power progress in providing more and cleaner energy solutions. So digitalization has been transforming our life in a manner that we never expected 10 years ago. So digital technology is also transforming the energy industry by improving safety, efficiency, and also in facilitating the use of renewable energy. So Shell's strategy is to strengthen our position as a leading Shell leader in providing all gas and also low-carbon energy as the world energy system change. Increasingly, we also need a lot more agility in developing innovation, intelligent IT system, and also automated processes across the business. So IT play a very key role in actually providing the building blocks in order to achieve those goals. So we also want to make sure that Shell remains a great place to come to work. And we want to be able to continue to retain and attract the best people. So the people who will understand and feel the change as Shell is getting more relevant in the world. And these people come to work today expecting a great user experience in the technology they use.
So again, going back to the same type of story we were talking about before, about how people retrain and how people reinvest in people. So great to hear that you're doing that. But if you think about specifically your digital journey that you're on now, what type of experience is it that you're building that you have to actually deal with from the world of Shell?
So we have a very large IT landscape, so over 100,000 desktop and laptop in 800 sites. We have over 272 business-critical applications, and every month we detect and clean 7 million of viruses.
So 7 million viruses?
7 million of viruses.
Don't want to be your CISO.
But yet everything we do in IT is to deliver business value, and it's underpinned by 4 key elements. The first one is about we need secure and reliable IT operation, always. Second is about the agile ways of working. Thirdly is about great user experience. And fourth is about simplifying the IT landscape by adopting market standard solutions.
OK, so if you actually talk about what you've had to do, specifically some of the stuff you've done around people, what have you got that's really a specific example that people in the audience could latch onto to understand?
Yeah, sure. So we have implemented the ServiceNow IT Service Management. We're busy now implementing the ServiceNow IT Business Management. And we are aspiring to manage our end-to-end IT value chain with ServiceNow. But a key component of IT delivering business value is the focus on people and having the right skills and the right capabilities. And to do that, we use ServiceNow as our strategic IT platform through a solution that we call Skills Inventory. And this tool is accessible via our ServiceNow portal, and it allows our IT staff to actually manage their skills, as well as searching and endorsing other colleagues' skills. And this tool is quite important for us, and since we're using it, we have actually increased the skills profile coverage from 20% to 80%.
Really?
And this information helps us to make sure that we train the people on the right skills because of the fast pace of technology. And secondly, is to allow us to ensure that we actually bring the right resources and right skills to the most value-add business project. So all these things is to help and ensure that IT is a great place to work, and also that the people come and want to stay because they see the growth they are attaining.
Right. So I want to thank Lynn for coming, but first of all, I have my guilty secret that I have to confess that me and at least one other person sitting in the audience in 1997 built the system that you're now trying to replace, so I do apologize for that.
So it's all your fault.
It's all my fault. But Lynn, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for sharing with the audience. Great to see you. So everything I said, everything I talked about before, they're not new predictions. There's nothing in that people hasn't imagined before. And there's nothing in that in a company that we're not already working on. These are things that we already have in progress. So some of these things you might see in less than 5 years. But this combination of agility, of intelligence, of automation and experience, that's what all comes together to make technology serve people. And that's what technology should have always been made for. It should have never been made for the point of just serving itself. If you can get that right, if you can get this in service of people, then I said before that you were gods of infrastructure. I don't see any reason why IT can't become gods of productivity. Because you're the people who've been measured, who've been scaled, who've been punished the longest probably to be able to optimize your processes. And you've defined your processes and you've written down those processes. And people will stop talking about the efficiency of IT. This is about employees and customers discovering that they can have an experience in work that completely rivals what they get in the consumer experience. So I think armed with this knowledge, armed with this experience, the future of work isn't just now. I believe the future of work is uniquely you. I think this is a fundamental change in the way people are going to work in the future, and I don't think anyone is better positioned than the people in this audience to be able to drive that change. Now, we've talked a lot about innovation as part of this, and innovation isn't an individual. Innovation isn't even a team. Innovation in a company like ServiceNow is something that runs across the entire company, and that's why we've been able to get where we are. That's why we've been able to get some of the awards you've seen us getting. And for me, it's easy. I just have to talk about it. But there are a whole group of people in the company who don't just have to talk about it, they all have to build it as well. So what I want to do now is I want to introduce someone on stage who's actually not just contributing to that vision, someone who's actually building that vision as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Pablo Stern.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for laying out that vision. But I really want to thank you. You are the future of work. It's you that is aligning the business to get to that future. You're the future of work. You're driving the digitization of your services. You're actually also helping align by making sure that you, as IT, are the partner to the business. So thank you. Now, I'm your guide today to Dave's vision. I'm going to help you build to that vision. Now, I don't know how you got started in computers, but for me, it started with a name, my name. You see, my parents gave me my name because they thought it would imbue the artistic superpowers that often come with a name like Pablo. But it didn't. Yet what I found was that I could create, that I could build, that I could be artistic, thanks to computers. And so when I started my career while I didn't have Dave's long, flowing black hair, I did get into technology. Who here had a Hotmail account? Lots of Hotmail accounts. I started at Hotmail before we called it the cloud. You remember spam back then? You remember? It was bad. Think, how many messages in your inbox were spam? 8 out of 10? 9 out of 10? I was hired as a guy to get spam out of your inbox. I was the anti-spam guy. That was my job. And I loved my job. It was tough. It was a really tough job, but what I loved about it was that I could actually deliver an experience to millions of people. Have you ever thought, what is my masterpiece? My Mona Lisa? For me at Hotmail, it was a spam button. Incredibly simple, yet intricate underneath. Much like the pyramid that John painted yesterday. And so we spent our time underneath helping the experience, helping drive spam out of your mailbox. And we got there. But soon thereafter, Google came out with 1 gig inboxes, came out with super fast search, and then eventually the mobile revolution hit, and the world progressed. And I'm here to tell you that I'm frustrated. And I'm frustrated because I've seen the consumer world move forward, and the world of work has not kept up. I mean, if you think about it, from a street corner, with 3 clicks of a button, I can have a car come pick me up and take me to dinner. And with 3 more clicks, I can actually buy that car. Yet, at work, if my mouse breaks, I've got to file a ticket, I've got to follow up with an email, and 2 weeks later, I probably have to make a phone call to figure out where that thing is. We can do better. And I'm here today as your guide to Dave's vision to show you how, through agility, intelligence, and automation, you can deliver a world-class experience. So let's take a journey as technologists. First, we build it. Then, we get it up and running. And then, you're serving your customers. So let's go into build. And here's where you really need to be agile. As a product person, I've anchored on the 3 Ps: process, people, and product, to deliver great solutions. Process is really about being able to move quickly. People is about collaboration. It's about breaking the silos. And product is about making sure that you're aligned, and then you can iterate fast. Now, on the process side, what I hear from many of you is that things are too slow. There's too much friction. And what I see happening is I generally see organizations in one of 2 states, and they're unstable. And the first state is a friction state. Tell me if this sounds familiar. My last job, I ran IT and operations. And we were an enterprise company born in the cloud, serving companies like yourselves. And so managing your information, managing your services was incredibly important to us. We wanted to make sure we were protecting your service and data. You wanted to make sure we were protecting your service and data. And the auditors definitely wanted to make sure we were protecting your service and data. So I brought Isaac in, the head of my operations. I said, Isaac, let's talk through a few of the things that we should be doing here. And what Isaac said was, it starts with change. Change is where things break. So let's make sure that we get a process in place. We can do a change control board. We'll meet once a month, maybe once every couple of weeks, and we'll approve everything that's going out into production. And that way we know that we're reducing risk and things aren't breaking. So how would you react to that? I'll tell you how I reacted. I said, Isaac, there's no friggin' way. We're a startup company. This will put us out of business. This is the IT friction state. And the reason it's unstable is because either you're a startup company like mine and you reacted the way that I did, or you're a large enterprise and you've got 10 startups in your space that had my reaction that are going to put you at a competitive disadvantage. Now, what happens is when companies realize they're in the friction state, they go to the second unstable state, which I call the dev cowboy state. Who's worked with dev cowboys? Who's been a dev cowboy? Yeah, that's right. So, I was in Chicago recently, talking to John, head of operations at a financial service company. And he ran the command center, the big screens, making sure that all the services are up and running. And John's company realized they were in the friction state. So what they do, they hired a bunch of dev cowboys. Dev cowboys came in and they said, guess what? Just go fast. Ship in the cloud, don't worry about John. Just go quickly and get the service out to customers. And they did just that until things broke. Because when things broke, guess what happened? Who got the call? John. What did John do? John raised his hands. There was nothing John could do. He hadn't been involved. He didn't have visibility. He couldn't help. So they eventually got the service back up and running. But you know what happened next? They killed the cowboys. And they went back to the friction state. So I'm here to tell you that there's a third state. And it's stable. And to help me walk you through it, I want to bring someone to the stage who's been a developer, a dev manager, a product leader at DevOps companies. So please join me in welcoming RJ Janendra.
Yeehaw! Howdy, y'all. How y'all doing? All right. So as Pablo said, I've been a developer, I've been a dev manager, so I guess I've been a dev cowboy. But I'm reformed now. I'm super excited to be here at ServiceNow where I can help deliver that third state, where the right approach for the future is to work out how to get technology teams to really foster business agility. And the key to that kind of alignment is to get the right work to the right team at the right time, and then optimize the end-to-end flow. And where better to manage the end-to-end flow than on ServiceNow? So before I show you how we deliver the third state, I'd like to talk about some of the challenges I've seen, as well as what I hear from our customers who are undergoing that transformation. And the first one are all these manual processes. They introduce friction and slow down the flow between dev and ops. And the big one here is change management. I've seen this personally where my teams have had to wait days or weeks to get approvals before they could deploy into production when they had met the definition of done. Developers have to log in and create change requests and fill out all these forms manually, which is super frustrating for them. The second is poor collaboration and visibility. These teams work in silos. They use many, many tools. There's a new one popping up every day. The data is fragmented. There's a lack of visibility. And there's no trust and collaboration between these teams, because how can you build trust and collaboration when you can't see what the other teams are doing? The third is that the work is not aligned to business. It doesn't matter that you do 100 deploys a day if you're delivering the wrong stuff. It's great that your development teams are agile, but it's not helpful if initiating a project or defining requirements takes months or quarters. Now, we can solve that. We solve these problems today, and I'll show you how we reduce friction and accelerate change. We improve visibility and collaboration, and also we go ahead and we align the work to the business so you can get to your desired outcomes. So let's click into the first. So as development teams adopted Agile and DevOps, they put in practices like continuous integration, where they made sure that the build was working. They adopted test-driven development and test automation to make sure that the applications work correctly. And with continuous delivery, they're creating deployable artifacts faster than ever before. In fact, I was talking to Marianne, who works at an insurance company in Madison. Big shout out to all my fellow Badgers out there. And she was telling me that in her environment, the deployments have gone up from hundreds a month to well over thousands. And that's great that they're deploying so frequently, but it's putting a lot of pressure on change management. Some customers tell us it takes them 23 days on average to approve a deployment into production environments. So it's almost like application development is delivering these applications using high-speed lanes, which then could get congested at the manual toll booth of change management. Now, we can help with that. And so we're creating a new concept of DevOps change that gets rid of change management the way you know it.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Hey,
Hey, Archana, you're on the team. What are you doing? I'm in the middle of my demo here at Knowledge.
I know. But you're talking about some new kind of change management. I have been doing ITSM for over 10 years, and we've already solved for change management. I briefly saw you doing rehearsals yesterday, and I felt like we needed a voice for IT. In case you're wondering how I got mic'd up, I know the AV team here.
All right, well, Archana, looks like you came really prepared. Why don't you come up on stage?
All right.
Maybe we can talk this out.
All right.
So, Archana, I know you, but how about you introduce yourself to our audience here?
Sure. So I am Archana Pendakonda. I do change management at ServiceNow. But right here, right now, I'm here for you. I'm going to be the voice of IT.
OK, very well. So, Archana, tell me, the things I was talking about, do you see application development teams wanting to deploy more frequently? Are they creating more change requests than before?
Yes, so we do see an increasing volume of changes coming in because more and more teams are adopting DevOps. I have been having conversations with fellow attendees last couple of days, and I am not alone when I say that it is a challenge we are aware of. We have a lot of changes coming in. We just somehow get it done.
Yeah. See, that's what I was talking about. So with ITSM in Madrid, we introduced automated change via change APIs and change policies. And now with our DevOps product, we build on that foundation and solve the problem at that next level. Before I show you that, tell me, what kind of information do you look for as a change manager from your development teams?
So governance is important to good change management. We make sure that the developers are following the appropriate processes for change requests, and we review the test results very closely.
Great. So what we've done is we built integrations to popular developer tools, things like GitHub, Jenkins, Jira. And so developers can stay in the tools that they love. But as they do their work, information is flowing into ServiceNow. So for example, say I'm a developer. I wasn't a very good one. That's why I became a product manager. But as I do my work inside of GitHub, I go ahead and edit my files, make my changes. And then when I do my commit, information flows into ServiceNow. Now, we don't copy the entire file, but what we do get is we get important pieces of information. Who made the change? What did they change? How much did they change? Things that are important downstream when you're trying to assess risk and provide the approval. So once the commit is done, it triggers a Jenkins pipeline, which runs through a build, runs a number of automated tests, and at a certain point, it gets to where it needs an approval to deploy into a controlled environment, like UAT. So what we've done is we've written a plugin, a Jenkins plugin that runs in the pipeline, that gathers up all the information about the build, about all the test results, and pushes it up into ServiceNow, and automatically creates a change request. So this way, a developer doesn't have to leave their tools to come into ServiceNow and fill out the form manually. What do you think about that?
I think that's great for dev, but it's also great for us in change management because we now have all the information we need within ServiceNow. And that's significant because today, change managers like myself spend several hours each month helping developers fill out change request forms correctly. If that can be automated, that can save us a lot of time, RJ.
That's right. A lot more time to crash demos. So, Archana, tell me now, as a change manager, when and how do you review and approve change requests?
We meet twice, actually once in 2 weeks. The change advisory board meets once in 2 weeks. We use CAP Workbench to keep us flowing smoothly and efficiently. And as painstaking as it might sound, we review every single change.
All right, you're going to like this. So with ServiceNow, you can create rules. We call these change policies, where you can define conditions that access the data that are coming in through the DevOps integrations. And if the conditions are met, that change request can be automatically approved. So Archana, this way, you don't have to go through one by one by one. Mm-hmm. The automation can take care of a large number of change requests so long as they meet the criteria. Okay. What do you think?
So what I'm hearing is that change managers can now create policies based on which changes can get automatically approved as long as they're within the risk threshold of our company.
That's right.
Okay.
And so this way, we can see the changes approved, the Jenkins pipeline continues on with the rest of the steps in the deployment. Now, many customers tell us they use Jenkins, but others use Microsoft Azure DevOps or TeamCity, and we're bringing similar capabilities there. So with ServiceNow DevOps, you can reduce approval times from weeks or days down to minutes. It's like putting in automated toll booths for change management. So those applications being delivered via these high-speed lanes can go right by so long as they meet the right criteria. And you all can transform from being change managers to change enablers to really focus on the changes that need help getting through the process. Sound good?
I like it. I think I'm going to change my LinkedIn profile from change manager to change enabler. Yeah.
All right, so do you want to go back down and I can get on with the rest of my show?
You know what? I think I'm going to be the voice of IT for the rest of it, so let's keep going.
All right, well, so then, we're going to talk then about how we can help you, help improve your dev and ops teams, break down the silos, and improve visibility. But before that, let's do a quick exercise.
Okay.
So I'm going to have you take this ball and go ahead and throw it, and I'm going to catch it with my eyes closed.
Superhuman powers.
All
right.
right.
1, no peeking. 1, 2, 3.
Drop the ball. Folks, this is what happens between your dev and ops teams. Ops has no visibility about what's coming down the pipe from development, what's been changed, how it's been tested, what's the impact, what's the risk, and it really takes superhuman effort to keep the balls from getting dropped. I didn't wear my Superman cape today, so the drop ball. But we can help with that. So we have all this data flowing into ServiceNow from the DevOps integrations. And so what we've done is we've built DevOps Insight, which is a set of dashboards and metrics that give visibility into that data. So for example, we can show you which teams have adopted DevOps, who are using DevOps change, what is the wait time for approvals. We can also show the error rates from deployments of these changes. And you can see that the teams with the DevOps change, they're awesome. No deployment errors. Now, we all know DevOps is more than just buying a bunch of new tools and using them. To succeed, it really takes a change in culture, a change in behavior. And so what's amazing about DevOps is that Insight is what we can show in terms of culture change. We can show you these metrics around behavior. So for example, we can show, are developers committing in code frequently, or are they waiting till the very end of the sprint? We can also show, are these commits granular, which we want them to be, or are they checking in dozens of files at a time, increasing risk? We can show, are features getting delivered frequently, or are they waiting till the very end, again, increasing risk. And so with DevOps Insights, we can give you this unprecedented visibility through all the connected data that we collect. How does that sound?
I'm sold, RJ. This lets IT really empower changes at the pace of DevOps. This visibility empowers IT and Dev to work together in ways that drives the entire organization forward at top speed. Everyone has a shared view of how we are delivering change success. We get visibility into areas for improvement. So like I said, RJ, this helps IT really drive forward changes and embrace them at the pace of DevOps. And that can be powerful because now, once again, IT is the change agent and the enabler in the transformation to a DevOps culture and mindset. Speaking of enabling changes, RJ, you mentioned a little while ago that doing 100 deploys a day is no good if you're delivering the wrong stuff. So planning needs to be tightly aligned with business needs. I'm sure the audience shares my interest in seeing how we do that.
All right. It's actually fun to have you on stage with me, so let's bring it home together.
Okay.
Let's talk about how we help align work to the business. And we can't talk about IT driving business agility without talking about how to align that work with business needs. How do you ensure the work being done by your tens or hundreds of your Agile teams are aligned to your business priorities? And so with ITBM in Madrid, we introduced portfolio planning for scaled Agile. And here, as a business owner, I can determine my portfolio strategy and the value streams that align with my business and strategic themes. Now, below the portfolio level, you have Agile release trains, which involve many teams that are delivering solutions for these value streams. And so with big room planning, we make it easy to coordinate the work between these teams and manage the dependencies. And in New York, we're introducing a new program board where you can see multiple teams, the features that they're working on, and when these features will get delivered. Now, the heart of Agile release trains are Agile teams. And nothing highlights the benefit of our Agile team planning more than the unified backlog. Any work in ServiceNow, problems, defects, incidents, stories, epics, all of those can be accessed via the unified backlog and routed to the right team for execution. So Archana, this gives top to bottom alignment.
That's great, because as change managers, then we can see when developers are working on things that are important to us, right?
That's right. So to recap, what I've shown you today is how we reduce friction and open up flow by accelerating change approvals without increasing risk, improve collaboration and visibility with DevOps Insight, and we align business and technology teams by managing all the work in one place with top-down planning. And this is how we are able to deliver the third state, and it's stable. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's hear it again for the change enablers. One more time, the change enablers in the audience. So you saw we got to the 3 Ps. With the new DevOps product release, which we're announcing today, now what you can see is that the DevOps teams can actually work with operations, much like RJ showed in that stable third state. And you get it this year. And I'm also really excited to announce our portfolio safe. As you saw Archana talk about, helping align the planning to the Agile teams to make sure that you're really driving at the speed that you want this year. So you've got process, you're moving quickly. People are now aligned and collaborating, breaking down the silos. And at the product level, the work is being done and aligned, and that way you can iterate fast. And what this enables you to do is to go beyond DevOps. So now you've built it. Now you got to get up and running. And this is where intelligence comes in. So if you think about the cloud, it can be brittle. And the reason for it is there are too many monitors, too many systems, too much data. Things are too fragile. Now, from my time in operations, I really anchored on a few system design principles around operations. The first one is about making sure that you bring all the information together, all in one place. And then, secondly, because there's so much of it, you have to use intelligence to be able to process it. No single person can do that. And this is what the AI ops juggernaut is about. When people talk about AI ops, it's about big data and machine learning together. And that's important. It's very important. But while it's necessary, it's not sufficient. In order to close the loop, you need a third principle, which is with action. Because you actually have to go and fix something if there's a problem, or get ahead of the problem by doing something. And this really completes the third leg of the stool. Who's been on a 4 a.m. bridge trying to solve a problem before your customers wake up? You know every second counts, and oftentimes you've got many teams there with you. You've got the ops team, the dev team, the network team, the storage team, all working together. And so what I want to do is I want to bring on stage one of the original ITOM developers to talk you through how ServiceNow can help you at 4 o'clock. So please join me in welcoming Ben Jukic. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Pablo. Doing great. Love this crowd. So I loved seeing both you and Dave kind of take that walk down memory lane and look at what you did previously in your career. Now, believe it or not, I also actually had a life before ServiceNow. And today, I'm going to kind of walk a mile in my old shoes as an operations analyst. Now, as an operations analyst, I was always responsible for kind of keeping the lights on, keeping the services that I was responsible for up and running 24/7, 365. And that's not always an easy thing to do. I found that I was always really reactive to disruption. Something would happen, and I was not on top of it until it was way too late. And to top it off, once things went sideways, it took way too long to find the root cause. I always felt like I was trying to find a needle in a stack of needles. I got 10 fingers, I only had one thimble. It wasn't pretty. And even once I finally sorted through all the noise to find that root cause, man, getting it back up and running was a pain in the neck. So on that 4 a.m. call, I've got to reach out to a ton of people. Maybe it's email, maybe it's Slack. Who knows how to reach them? It was a mess.
Yeah, so, and I've been in each of these situations. So let's talk a little bit about how, with ServiceNow, we can help address some of these.
Absolutely. So today, I want to talk you through some of the tools that I wish I had that would have helped me to get ahead of those service disruptions, to actually dig in, see through all the noise, and find that root cause quickly, so that ultimately I could have collaborated with the teams more effectively to resolve those issues without impacting customer productivity. So I want to actually take you into the platform itself and show you a little bit about Operator Workspace. Within Operator Workspace, I'm able to see across a number of different sources of data. I'm able to see all the KPIs that might be relevant to me keeping the systems operational. And below, I can see all of the individual services that I'm responsible for. And already, I can see that one of them doesn't look so happy. One of these services is bright red, our mobile payment service. I got to get in front of this. And this is already solving my first problem. I've got clear visibility into what's happening in the environment, hopefully before a customer has already called about it.
All right, so you figured out where the problem probably is, but now you have to get to root cause. So what do you do next?
You're exactly right. So now I'm tasked with digging a little bit deeper to find that root cause. And so in order to do that, I'm actually able to click into that service to understand more of the service details. And here with Alert Intelligence, I'm able to see all of the information in context. So rather than just looking at atomic alerts across, perhaps an element monitor over here and a security monitoring tool over there, I've got that combined with the insights from incident and problem and change, all contextually presented. So here I can see that we might already be on to the root cause. I found a system that has outbound connections to some suspicious IPs. It's also got a pegged CPU. But I want to dig a little bit deeper to get a little bit more confidence that I've identified the root cause correctly. So I can look at the metrics that are behind the scenes. And here we're using machine learning not to call out something that's too high or too low, but to identify behavior that looks odd. And here I can see that this load on the CPU is in fact anomalous. We've looked at it over time, we've determined what's normal in this time range, and this is not it. So now I've got confidence that I just solved my second problem. I was able to identify that root cause.
So that's the promise of AI Ops. You take operational data, you apply intelligence, and you can get insights really fast. But now we need the third leg of the stool.
You're absolutely right. So now that I've found what's going on, I've actually got to right the ship and get this operational again before anybody notices, and without causing more harm than good. So in order to do this, I'm going to be able to take a different approach than I have in the past. Again, in the past, maybe this was a crisis bridge that I've got to spin up. Maybe I've got to call some people, send them a chat over Instant Messenger, send them an SMS, hope they're awake. With this, I can actually get this moving with just a click. I've got actions right in front of me where, in this case, since we're communicating with outbound IPs, it's probable that this host has been compromised and is maybe doing some Bitcoin mining. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a security incident. And ordinarily, That's where my job is over. But Pablo, I haven't been entirely honest with you today, and I know we're in Vegas, but no, it's stopping
What are you
here.
doing, Ben?
I'm not actually a mild-mannered operations analyst. Reformed black hat hacker crash override.
Impressive.
And ever since I hacked the Gibson in '95, I've been laying low in corporate security. So I'm going to be able to pick this one up from here and carry this through to fulfillment. Now, in the security incident, we have a prescriptive playbook behind the scenes. And this is all managed by Flow Designer and Integration Hub. And this is going to automate the collection of those initial observables that I need to continue on with my work. So I'm allowed to take action that's meaningful rather than getting caught up in the mundane drudgery of collecting this info. And further, this playbook is telling me exactly what that action needs to be so that it's done the same way every time. No room for me fat-fingering things. And once I actually eradicate this threat, as per the playbook, I can then prevent this from popping up again in the future. I can leverage those observables to make a block request on our firewalls. So if any other system might be compromised and we just don't know about it yet, it's going to be blocked at the firewall layer. Because frankly, if anybody's mining Bitcoin internally, that better be me. So I'm going to go ahead and close out this security incident. And really, I just solved my third problem. I was able to get this fixed without causing any further impact to customer productivity. And I bet you, once we look back at Operator Workspace, we're going to see that mobile payments is back in a happy green state instead of that nasty red we had before. Sure enough.
So I didn't realize that. So I didn't realize that this morning was going to be a costume show. You know, what I really love about what you showed, beyond getting to the solution on the issue, was that you actually brought two teams together. You brought the operations team and the security team, and they actually were collaborating together to solve the problem.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. It's almost like the ops team and security team were the same person. So just to quickly recap what we just saw, you know, in this demo, I was able to get ahead of that service disruption because I had full transparency across my operations estate. I was able to identify that root cause quickly, again, because I had access to all of that rich contextual data. And leveraging that data, I was able to resolve that issue without impacting our customer productivity.
Ben, and you did it all in under 5 minutes.
That's why I get paid the medium bucks, Pablo.
It's 4:05. We can go to bed.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. As CJ announced yesterday, we have our new operator workspace where you saw Ben find the mobile payment issue right on the screen. This is going to allow you to run a modern command center, and it's in limited availability this year. And then, as he drilled in, you saw our new alert intelligence, where the operator can actually apply machine learning and determine what the issues are, letting your IT ops or SREs get issues resolved quickly this year. And finally, on the security side, I'm really happy to announce our no-code playbooks, where you saw, as Ben was working through the issues, you could drive analysis and containment automatically, helping the security analysts do their job quickly this year. So now, you've resolved your problem, everything's back up and running, and you've taken machine data with intelligence, you have AI ops, and you've added action on top of it, which allows you to go beyond insight. So now you've built it, you've got it up and running. Now let's talk about supporting our customers. And here is where you can truly leverage automation. So I want to take you into a scene that I think many of you will be familiar with.
I've been on hold for an hour already. Just answer the phone. I just want a trackpad.
Hi, customer service. This is Tracy. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
Hi, Tracy. This is Matt. M-A-T-T, Matt.
Hi, Matt. How do you spell that?
M-A-T-T, Matt.
I understand, sir, and I'm committed to helping you get your answer fast.
I feel like
Matt,
I'm going to get committed.
What's your ticket number?
My ticket number? Why did I fill out all that information already? Hold on. Let me find the ticket number. Flopsy bear found. Cool. OK. It's the same combination as my luggage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, that's easy enough. Let me look that up. Shoot. I need to put you on hold for one more second.
No, don't hang up on me. You better not hang up on me.
Must be in a different system again. Matt, give me a few minutes. I need to talk with my supervisor or my supervisor's supervisor.
It's not like I had any work to do today.
Okay, looks like I need a service ticket number, not your order ticket number. Hello? Hello?
She hung up on me. No!
That was so frustrating.
Join me in thanking Tracy Laird from our ITSM team and welcoming to the stage Matt Schwimmer.
Hey, Pablo.
Matt, so you found Flopsy?
I did find Flopsy. He's on his way home. Rest assured, we'll have a happy ending there. That was the best that joke ever landed. So, OK. All right, back on course. So this is excited to be back on here. You know, this is I was asked to come to ServiceNow a couple times in the past, and Fred will probably tell you I'm not the fastest learner, but I learn now. And one thing I learned, let's see if it's consistent with what you learned, Pablo. When you talk to CIOs today, would you say it's fair that their top issue is how do I automate away a lot of the issues that are hitting their level 1 service desk?
So I typically hear this among the top 3 priorities when I talk to our customers.
Top 3. OK, I'll take that. I feel like I'm in the right keynote at least. When I talk to CIOs, what I hear consistently is that over the next 3 years, they're looking to automate up to 85% of what hits level 1 today. So that's what we're going to talk about here. How is ServiceNow going to deliver automation capabilities to get rid of a lot of that repetitive, mundane work that's clogging up the IT staff's inboxes on a daily basis, forcing us all to pay a heavy work tax? Sound good?
Let's go.
All right, it's Vegas, so let's get it on. All right, so let's first start by talking about the 3 challenges that we face that stop us from getting to this nirvana state. 1, customers and employees struggle with self-service. Just putting up a knowledge base and a catalog on a portal somewhere doesn't always cause the best experience, and we'll talk about why in a minute. Second, for most organizations today, every interaction between employees and IT requires the creation of a ticket. And it's a very manual, inefficient process as you have IT staff having to triage every single interaction. Third, when you combine those first 2 and the fact that IT is triaging every issue, no matter how mundane, what you've created is a bad experience for the employees and a bad experience for IT staff.
Seems like this is a great opportunity for improving the world of work.
That's a fantastic transition, Pablo. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to talk about how we get out of this ticket spin cycle, how we drive better efficiencies for our IT staff, and finally, how we create a great experience for all parties involved. So let's go and let's talk about the first part of this. How do we get rid of this ticket spin cycle? So I talked about, why does self-service not work for a lot of employees? Well, simply put, you have to know what you're looking for, right? A lot of times, I don't know why something isn't working. I just know it's broken. And so how do I find my issue fast? And this is why we've launched our Smart Virtual Agent powered by Natural Language Understanding, or NLU. Now, before I get into the product and show you what I'm talking about, I just want to take a minute and kind of demystify the term natural language understanding. Joe Davis was up here yesterday, and he tried to explain it, but, he's an engineer. He's got a fancy black shirt that, spent a lot more money on that shirt than you really look like. So I'm a normal guy, and I'm going to try to explain it through a normal action. I don't know if you guys at home, like me, things break a lot in my house, and I'm completely useless, but I have a good friend who knows how to fix everything, and his name is Google. And so a couple of weeks ago, I was at home, and I was struggling with a leaky faucet. And so I went to Google, and I said, how to fix a leaky faucet. And so what Google is able to do is tell me that the entity I'm dealing with is a faucet, and my intent is to fix it. And so that's what really natural language understanding is. How do I provide much more contextually relevant search results to help me resolve my issues fast? And so that's what we're going to show here today. All right. So I'm going to take out my handy-dandy now mobile application. And in this scenario, I'm going to switch hands because I'm right-handed. I'm an employee. And if the demo goes well, I'm an employee tomorrow. I'm pretty glad that CJ doesn't do my performance reviews. And so because it's a native app, I'm going to initiate this with the Siri shortcuts you saw yesterday. My scenario is I can't access a spend management application. I like to spend a lot of money. Sounds like an important application. All right. Hey Siri, open the ServiceNow employee mobile app. It opens the app. I'm going to open the virtual agent. And now I'm going to talk into the agent. I can't access spend management. Comes back. Oh, I changed my password 3 days ago. I completely forgot I changed my password. I usually set all my passwords to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I guess we're getting a little tighter on security around here.
That's the same passwords on my luggage, Matt.
I knew I liked you. There's a reason we get along so well. So all I've done so far is I've helped myself find the resolution or find the root cause of what my problem is. But everyone that knows a good self-help program doesn't stop with just telling me I have a problem. I have to find out how do I solve my problem. And that's what we're going to do next. And I'm going to show you how we're going to increase the efficiency of solving my problem without having to go and contact the service desk for help. And so I'm going to go back to my virtual agent again, and we're going to pick up in this dramatic scenario. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to bring up my virtual agent again, and I'm going to come back in and say, I completely forgot I changed that. I don't remember my password. It's going to process that, and it's going to tell me, oh, it can help me authenticate for that. And because it's, again, a native app, I can take advantage of the security protocols built into my phone to automate the fulfillment of this action. In this case, I'm going to use Face ID. So I'm going to open Face ID. Hello, handsome. And it works, and you can see it's able to authenticate who I am, and I can reset my password without ever having to leave my phone in minutes, and just as importantly, not having to shove another unnecessary ticket onto the service desk. It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, so no ticket,
no ticket.
And you're getting to resolve the issues. Now, my name's Pablo, and while I'm not artistic, I did grow up speaking Spanish. And I know with a lot of our customers, we speak many different languages. We are global companies. So let's talk a little bit about how we're helping the global workforce.
Oh, muy bien, Senor Stern. So the third thing I want to talk about is how we're driving great experiences for our employees and the IT staff overall. And one of the ways that we're doing that is through a capability we have called dynamic translations. So the scenario you're talking about, Pablo, is a pretty common scenario for a global company. Think about, let's say Pablo is speaking Spanish, working with a Spanish-speaking agent, and the issue is not resolved before that agent goes home. What typically happens is that issue sits until someone can pick it up the next day and keep resolving the issue. Wouldn't it be great if, following the sun, someone in a different region speaking a different language could pick up that ticket and continue working the issue to resolve your issue fast?
Absolutely, yeah, I'd love to see it.
Good, I'm glad you said yes, otherwise I'd be over too fast. So let's go into this example. Take out the employee mobile app, if you will, please.
All right.
And I want you to open up a ticket, if you will. Okay. Open up a ticket you have and say something in, I don't know, can you speak Japanese?
Do you want me to say it in Spanish?
Spanish, okay, if you don't do it Japanese, Spanish is fine. Try that.
Por favor, pon alta la prioridad de mi incidente corriente.
I don't know what that was. It sounded beautiful. I'm strangely attracted to you right now. Okay.
That is very awkward.
So Pablo is...
Pat
Pablo
Waters here.
So I told him I'd make him laugh once. So Pablo has spoken great Spanish. He's entered information into his ticket. Now I'm going to go into the agent workspace, and I'm going to go into the VIP queue because, I mean, look at the shoes, look at the jacket, look at that hairstyle. That's a VIP. And so we're going to click on this. And what you're going to see here is we're going to drill into the activity stream. and you're going to see what Pablo said gets dynamically translated to English. I set my preference to English. Working with our partners, we're able to translate in context. I can continue working that issue and get Pablo resolved and on his way fast.
Me has dejado completamente impresionado.
Gesundheit, sir. OK, so what do we see? Big finish. Couple things to wrap up. Hope we showed you how we're eliminating the ticket spin cycle by driving employees to resolve their issues fast with our smart virtual agent powered by natural language understanding. We're increasing efficiency by allowing employees to avoid having to put every mundane task into the inbox of IT staff. And we're driving great employee and IT staff experiences through capabilities like our dynamic translation.
Matt, and join me in introducing our new natural language understanding, which now enables you to get what you want, where you want, virtual agents that are really empowered and taking it to the next level, available this year. And we're also announcing our dynamic translation, which you saw when I spoke to my phone in Spanish, and it was able to translate for the agent to serve in English, which is also available this year. So there you have. You could see that we're helping improve both the employee experience and help go beyond tickets, really driving to that promise that Dave laid out, getting you to a future that is getting beyond tickets. So you've built it, you've got it up and running, you're serving your customers. What I want to do now is I want to make it real by bringing a ServiceNow customer to the stage to help you understand how you can also, through the power of agility, intelligence, and automation, drive some of this in your organization. So let's start with their video.
Raymond James is a financial services corporation. We have approximately 7,800 advisors that manage almost $1 trillion in assets. The Now platform has allowed us to unify through designed workflows that are easy to use and drive efficiency in the organization.
It is infinitely easier to see data across different processes all running on the same platform. It has a shared workflow, it has a shared user experience.
ServiceNow and the Now platform have really given us incredible transparency that we never had before. Metrics that were very difficult to obtain are now at our fingertips, and we can access that information in real time.
Which has led to us being more productive. What that means is those associates are much happier in the work that they do and certainly more engaged in the practices that they're working on. Self-service has allowed our associates to get more time back and are ensured that they're going to get the services they requested timely. Today, the folks who've grown up with technology, they want that same level of experience they've had on that phone or device at work. And I think since having the Now platform, we're able to bridge that gap. It's important to ensure that our associates are satisfied with the services that we are providing them, and that's how I think we really gauge success.
Please join me in welcoming to the stage Dave Sherm. Dave, it's great seeing you, and thanks for being a great partner. Dave and I met when I first started at ServiceNow a couple of years ago, and what I've always appreciated about him has been not only are you holding yourself and your team to a very high bar, but you're holding us to a high bar, and you're really pushing us on our use cases, so thanks for that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here with you, Pablo. I can't believe it's been 2 years since you and I have been working together. It doesn't seem like that long ago. Actually, you know, when I think about this, 2 years ago when we first met, I think you were making a very personal announcement. You were expecting your second child. Any announcements like that this morning?
So we have a lot of announcements today, and I'm not planning to make any announcements on the home front this year.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
So Dave, talk through a little bit about how IT transformation is going at Raymond James.
Sure. You know, when I think about technology, right, the last 10 to 15 years have been pretty amazing. So, you know,
technology has always been about making the business more effective, more efficient. I think what we're seeing today, more times than not, is that technology is actually driving business decisions. Additionally, we have this new employee workforce, right? They're coming in and they're extremely techno-literate. So this creates a whole host of new challenges for technology. For me personally, I think there are three things that come to top of mind. I'm sure all of you have others. One is more data, right? It used to be that the technology investment was on core business processes. Now, technology is applied to all the processes across all the business lines. And what that means is you have this wealth of data and metadata. And our challenge is to figure out how to correlate that and bring it together in real-time analytics. Number two is faster. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't hear someone say, I need you to do that faster. That's not fast enough. And when you couple that with pervasive technology, what you soon realize is that it's not acceptable to have any downtime. Your systems have to be available all the time. And number three is experience, user experience. So it's no longer acceptable to have a utilitarian user experience. Our financial advisors and our employees, they expect great experiences.
And what you're saying resonates a lot. I hear from our customers that software definitely is eating the world, and IT is really in the driver's seat in that transformation. So maybe talk a little about how ServiceNow is helping you in this transformation.
It's great. The partnership is fantastic, by the way. And since we're on the Now platform, we have many different processes running on the platform. And the great thing is we can leverage the data across all of those processes using a shared workflow. And what that means is we can innovate pretty quickly. We can meet changes in business and increase business demand. I have a great example if you'd like to hear it.
I'd love to hear it.
Absolutely. All right. So for the last 4 years, right, we've had a year-over-year growth in change activity of 25%. Now, that's simply a reflection of more technology. You're doing lifecycle management. Additionally, we're driving more business value to our end users, right? New features, new functions. And what I think is truly amazing is the team that manages that change activity, right? That analyzes each change, that looks at schedules, that does the collision detection. For those first 3 years, what's that, 250%?
Yeah, roughly.
They didn't require any additional resources to manage that workload.
So now you're helping accelerate the business by driving faster change. And one of the things that I've really appreciated about our partnership is that you're part of our design partner program. And you are actually helping inform us. And a lot of the technology that we announced today, you've actually done a preview, you've actually helped on those use cases. So can you talk a little about how you're planning to use it at Raymond James?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, I have to tell you, my team and I really enjoy knowledge. I can't think of a knowledge in the last 3 years where I didn't go back and totally disrupt their roadmaps. And frankly, I don't think they love me for that. But seriously, I really do think that's a reflection of ServiceNow understanding not only what your customers want, but what your customers need. Speaking specifically around the Design Partner Program, it's fantastic. We have an opportunity to influence roadmaps. We have an opportunity to see new things that are coming down the road. Additionally, we get to work with some really great product teams that care about us as a business, what our objectives are, and helping us achieve that. Why don't we talk a little bit about our command center? So I think we have a visual for you here, but for the audience, let me paint maybe a better picture than this, I don't know. Imagine a physical space, and in this physical space, we have dozens and dozens of monitors on the wall. And those monitors are looking at different aspects of our technology stack, whether it's performance, whether it's availability, real user transactions, synthetic transactions, you name it, we have visibility into that. In this physical space, we have different disciplines represented, right? We have service desk, we have our incident management team, and we have a whole host of ITOM technicians. Now, I talked earlier about running many things on the platform. One of the things that we run on the platform is event management. It is our manager of managers. It is a clearinghouse for all of our event data. So today, we leverage that in conjunction with service mapping to help us quickly identify what's gone wrong and remediate that. Yep. But we're really excited about the future using alert intelligence. So alert intelligence is going to provide us with that single pane of glass experience for our ITOM technicians. And it's going to couple that with machine learning in such a way where it helps that team manage that chaos. Now think about it. I know all of you in the audience feel the same way I do. Technology will fail. Our job is to be there quickly and make sure we correct it as soon as absolutely possible. And Pablo, I can actually see a future, and it's not that far away, where machine learning coupled with standardized remediation is going to, by default, having us doing unsupervised remediations. That's just fantastic.
So this is AI ops with that action to go drive that remediation. So let's talk a little bit about the agent experience.
Absolutely. Love talking about the service desk. Anytime I talk about the service desk, I feel compelled to talk about the employees who work in that space. I think oftentimes they're very underappreciated. Let's face it, we've all called the service desk, and I have to imagine that most of the time, your moods are suboptimal. That means that that agent not only has to solve the issue at hand, they have to do that in a way that doesn't increase your frustration. So let's take a look at Agent Workspace. So for us, we believe the simplest way to solve that is to reduce the interaction time. Agent Workspace puts contextually relevant information right at the agent's fingertips. Ultimately, we believe that that will reduce the overall interaction times. You know, earlier I mentioned new employees entering the workforce. They're not just looking for salary and benefits. I'm not suggesting that those aren't important by any stretch of the imagination. But again, they come in with expectations around how technology should work. They've grown up with it. They know what they should be getting from this. And we believe that Agent Workspace goes a long way to providing that modern experience that they're looking for.
Now, that's great. And what I really love is you're actually helping bridge that home life for those digital natives at work with some of this experience.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about, as you bring this all together, like, how do you see this partnership flourishing?
Should we talk about mobile?
Oh.
You want to talk about mobile?
Let's do it.
All right, let's talk about mobile. So we're really excited about mobile, not only what you're going to announce here this morning, but where that's actually leading. One of our goals is to actually be able to provide and consume services from everywhere. So we're really excited to take a look at this. So our financial advisors and business professionals, they're not wedded to their desks. They're out engaging with their clients, trying to understand them and provide the best advice they can. Our challenge in technology is to figure out how to support them in the way that they want to service their clients. So we're really excited about mobile, and we're really excited as a first step to have our agents and managers empowered with that technology. And I know I've rambled on quite a bit this morning, so why don't I try and summarize some of this stuff for us. So the innovations that we've talked about this morning, I think it's going to deliver a few things for us. Number one is it's going to help us more quickly identify and remediate issues. Number two, we're going to be able to provide great experiences not only for our customers, but for the agents who are providing services to those customers. The mobile experience is going to be great, right? We really do want to be able to provide that experience across the board to everywhere. But most importantly to me is that it's going to empower technology to provide great service to our financial advisors so they can provide exceptional advice to their clients.
Dave, thanks. And I'm glad you stumped me, because what I really liked that you talked about was the new Now Mobile, which we're going to release for all of IT. So now people on your team can actually get work done on the go. Dave, thanks for being a great partner.
Yep, very excited. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. So now, a manager like Dave can take an issue right from their phone wherever they are. And if it's a big issue, the first thing that Dave's going to do is he's going to get it to the operator. The operator can actually track that incident. If it's a big incident, escalate it to a major incident right from their phone, helping them go beyond insight this year. And then the agent can actually track that issue wherever they are, helping them go beyond tickets this year. And then, if a change is needed, which often is for a big issue, the change manager can actually approve that change wherever they are, helping them go beyond DevOps this year. But wait, there's more. Asset managers can track their assets on the go. Project managers can track projects wherever they are. The security team can track incidents and vulnerabilities right from their phone. And the compliance team can track audits on the go. And when you get this, I think you guys know by now, so please chant with me. You get it all this year. One more time. You get it all this year. So as you go forward, know that you can deliver more quickly through the power of agility. You can stand up that always-on cloud service with intelligence. And you can have a truly automated experience, which is helping you go beyond tickets. And you can do this while delivering world-class experience. So, there you have it. As you can see, the future of work truly is now.
Rocket.